Hello and welcome to InDesign. InDesign is Adobe's publishing software, and it's the perfect companion to Illustrator and Photoshop, and it brings it all together in a lovely desktop publishing package. So the first thing you're going to see when you open InDesign is this screen, the learning screen, and you have access to some text tutorials on how to accomplish different tasks. But we're going to head over into the work section over here, and it shows my most recent projects, which you can see here. We're going to begin a new project from scratch. So over on the left hand side, we're going to click create a new file, create new, and this is the 2017 version of InDesign, and usually they don't change it too much between versions, but when I try the 2018 version, if it's crazy different, I'll do another video covering that. It's going to say your most recent documents, and this is going to be populated by whatever projects you are working on and the sizes you created. We're going to start with a fresh document. Our document is going to be a contact sheet, and so its intention is to be eventually printed or exported to the web to be sent by email or as a PDF and to be digitally published. So we can just start with print, and then when we export, we can export it to PDF. So we'll start with print. And we're given a lot of presets and templates by InDesign. And as you can see, the units of measurement are picas, which is standard graphic design measurements. I personally find picas to be cumbersome because no one else outside of graphic design works with them. So I'm going to switch it to inches. And you can do whatever unit of measurement you want. In my case, it's going to be inches. I know I have plenty of 8.5 by 11 inch paper, so I'm going to choose the standard letter size. You're going to have a custom document one day, and I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with this menu because this is the first menu that you see, and a lot of times you take it for granted, and this is where a lot of the most basic stuff of your problems can be solved. When you're doing just single documents and not a book, not an image that's going to be spread across several pages, you don't need facing pages. So you can turn that off. We know our orientation is going to be portrait, which is vertical orientation. We know it's going to have a lot of little images, as contact sheets do. It's full of thumbnails of our work. So I'm going to increase the columns to 4, because I think it's a good, nice, symmetrical number. Margins, 1/2 inch margins is fine by me. You put whatever standard you want. Bleed and slug has to do with the measurements and the guides that are going to be outside of the workboard that we're going to work on. If you have an image that goes way out off the edges, you're going to need some bleed. So you're going to work with that. But in our case, everything's going to be inset, and we're going to have 4 columns, and these columns are just guides. They're going to be in the background. They never print. I'll just quickly show you what the web menu looks like. Under web, you have some standard web sizes, 800 by 600 pixels. Again, you have letter, but this time it's given to you in pixels. A4, which is like a letter size, but in Europe it's longer, a little bit longer and thinner. 600 by 300 pixels, and then tons of presets. Right. Mobile, you have your A4 letter like we did before, but then we also have iPad and iPhones, and we have Surface Pro, Kindle Fire, Android. You've got tons of options to start with. Again, we're just going to go to our standard letter size, switch it to inches, so our rulers are already in inches. We're going to turn off facing pages, keep it vertical orientation, make sure we have 4 columns, and hit create. All right, so here we have our document, and I'm just going to go through the basics of this menu. Up here, we have our rulers, and on here on the side, you can see them as well. If you don't have your rulers, you can make them appear and disappear by pressing Control-R. That makes them appear and disappear. Up here, you have your X and Y measurements. These will become important once you have a text box we're going to create in the next step. You have your file, edit, layout. This is very similar to many of the Adobe programs. And so if you're familiar with other Adobe software, you'll find this pretty familiar too. Here we focus on importing images, creating captions. We're going to have text over here, so we'll learn about the text menu. Panel items, including the master pages and your active working pages. We'll discuss several of the most used menu items, and you'll have the basics on how to create a quick document that you can easily exchange images. All right, I'll see you in the next step.